Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. So now we talked about the burial last time and how do you bury and what's the size of the grave and so on. Now, what are the rules for the grave? What are the rules for the grave? The grave of the Muslim is a respected grave. So no one should sit on the grave. No one should walk on the grave. You know, there should be, when we do the cemetery, it should be a path between the graves so that you don't have to walk on top of the grave. Except for necessity here, they say the necessity, like for example, the people who are doing the burial or putting, for example, putting a sign on the grave or something like that, then such a necessity allows you to do that, but general shouldn't be allowed to walk on the grave or sit on the grave or stand on the grave for that. It should be a respected area. When you are visiting the grave, you should come close to it as much as you would come close to the person alive. So you are as if you want to read the Fatiha or something, make dua for the deceased and so on. You come close to him, to the grave, to the place of the burial, the grave itself. You come as close as you would come to him alive. If he's, for example, a highly respected scholar, for example, and you wouldn't come so close to him, you wouldn't get so close to the grave and so on, right? Then that's about it for the rules of the grave. We'll talk more about it actually later. Inshallah, there is more to it later. We'll come back to it later. But for now, we are moving on to the giving condolences. So when you give condolences to the person somebody that passed away, and you want to give condolences to his family, right? You want to tell his family. So if it is sunnah to give condolences, so you are rewarded for it before burial, and it continues so the period is from before burial till after the burial for 3 days. So 3 days after the burial, you can still give condolences to the family of the deceased. Usually people are busy before the burial and so on, so most likely it will be after the burial, but you can do it also before the burial. And you can do it before and after, it's no problem. Now, as we will learn, you give condolences to the Muslims and to non-Muslims. This sunnah applies to Muslims and non-Muslims, as we will explain later, inshallah. But the wording or the way you give condolences to Muslims is different from the way you give condolences to non-Muslims. But still, you should give condolences to both, as we will explain, inshallah. So the Muslim, if you are giving condolences to a Muslim and the deceased is a Muslim, so the family is Muslim and the deceased is Muslim, in this case you say this dua. You say أعظم الله أجرك أعظم الله أجرك أعظم الله أجرك
أعظم الله أجرك
وأحسن عزاءك
وأحسن عزاك
وغفر لميتك.
وغفر لميتك.
Now, you say, so which means, may Allah increase your reward, for patience and for losing this person, you have patience with that. So may Allah increase your reward. Means أعظم الله أجرك means may Allah increase your reward, make your reward great. Azim is great, make your reward great. وأحسن عزاءك, the best one who's to give you condolences is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself. So may Allah give you the best condolences. And غفر لميتك, and may Allah forgive the deceased. May Allah forgive your deceased, the person that passed away. So this is the way you give condolences to a Muslim. And this is it's like a conclusion from a hadith. You will not find that this wording is direct. It's not directly from a hadith, but is concluded based on a number of hadith and based on a number of occasions that the Prophet ﷺ gave condolences. So the Imam Shafi'i concluded that this format to kind of gather multiple hadith in one dua for the deceased. So yeah, then next time we talk about how to give condolences to non-Muslims and so on.